All right. Hello, hello, hello. Today, I just wanted to put a video together to talk about a concept that I feel like we know in our subconscious, but sometimes we have to be told it's okay to work with the clients who are right for you. I work with clients that are coaches, that are consultants, that do work in a variety of industries. But I think that when you're starting out, you almost feel like you have to work with everybody or you don't know exactly who to work with. So, in this short video, and I'm going to say short, we're going to talk a little bit about where people are going, how to understand where they are in their journey, and to also set you up for success to work with the clients who are right for you in this time of your life and in this state of your business. I want you to feel empowered as a coach, as a consultant to do business the way that works for you. And for those of you who don't know me, before we get too deep, I am Corey Fonville Foster. I am the owner of iRock Marketable Business Solutions based in Virginia, USA. We help small business owners solve big marketing problems on a budget. Our focus is coaches and consultants, especially in their first 5 years of business. It's such an integral part, integral time in their journey where we want to be there to help them set up the systems they need to be able to scale up and sustain for years to come. So that's a little bit about us. Let's get into the topic today. And again, I want to just say welcome because I think so. Why did we pick this topic? Let's start there. And if you see me look down, it's because I had some notes because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. But I think, again, as a coach or as a consultant, one of the worst things we can do is chase, right? We chase or we plead with people to work with us. We say, we know we have the knowledge, we've done the work, and we really, 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 really want to work with you. And so we do that, and it almost feels like we're begging, right? We're like, please, please work work with us. I saw this picture and it really resonated with me because I think that's the way I felt in the beginning. When I started my business, I literally, and I tell people, I started off as a virtual assistant. It was just me, myself, and I sent out a message to people that I knew and said, hey, if you know anybody who might need my services, and I didn't have a list of services, just send them my way. It didn't have a website, didn't have a landing page, didn't have prices in mind, didn't have packages, programs, nothing, guys. I just sent out this desperate, and I'm going to say desperate, message. And I tell people you can still send out messages, but you want to have a little bit more of a plan before you throw yourself out there. So again, we don't want you to be desperate. And hopefully from this video, you will understand that even if you don't have one client, there should never be a time where you feel like I have to work with this person. Because if we had to work with people, we would be back working our 9 to 5s. The beauty of being entrepreneurs is we can work with people we want to work with and in the capacity we deem appropriate. And so I really want you to take hold of that power and utilize it to better your business. All right. So let's move here and say potential clients sometimes aren't willing to invest, right? That's one of the biggest things we get are people saying, I don't have the money to work with you. I don't know if you're going to be a good fit. And they tell you, well, would you work with me for this price? And again, when you're in that desperate state of mind, aren't you like, well, okay, I know I've done it. And if I've done it, I'm sure you've done it. I'm pretty confident in myself, but I'm not too confident and too honest and too transparent to say that, yes, there have been times where, again, I was in that desperate mindset and I lowered my price or I gave a price lower than what I was truly worth and got stuck working with a client that, again, just wasn't in the right mindset to work with me. And I really I'm going to keep pushing this point in the beginning, especially because I want you guys to realize and see it coming, right? They've looked at your website, and I'm sure some of you even have prices listed, and they still make the appointment to talk with you just to say, oh, they can't afford it. Would you be willing to do this? Could I possibly do this and try it out? No, like this is what it is. I'm a high in demand coach or consultant. These are my prices. This is what I am worth. And the prices just go up from here. That's what I want you guys to feel like. And the way we get into this mindset of not being desperate, but realizing that we want to work with people who want to work with us and who are ready to work with us is because all of your potential clients are on the same journey. They're literally all trying to get from point A, whatever their point A is, to point B, right? And typically for an entrepreneur, point B is success, right? Making profit, living the life of your dreams, right? So they're on this same journey. Now, where they start could be different places, but it's their point A to their point B. And it's really more so about how they are willing to get there, because we can't control other people, right? If you've ever been in therapy, they always tell you, you can't control other people. You can only control yourself and how you interact with them. Same thing in coaching and consulting. You can only change how you interact with these people, but they are still on their journey. So we're going to talk about a few different types of potential clients. And I want you to decide where you want to engage with people and what phase, not in what phase, but in what mindset do you want to interact, so that they can get the best out of what you provide. And it'll make a little bit more sense as we go on. All right, so in my mind, there are about 5 different types of potential clients. We have the walker, and the walker, we'll talk more about what they are, but we have the walker, we have the bike rider, we have the driver, the plane rider, and the jet setter. Right. And some of you may be already starting to think like, who am I? And these are the types of potential clients you can have. None of them are wrong. They're all on a journey, right? That same journey from point A, wherever they're starting, to success, right? To their next big goal. They're all on that same journey, but they want to get there in different vehicles. So let's talk a little bit about the walker. That's our first person. All right. So the walker, let's see, I want to make sure I get to my notes to make sure we can talk about this. All right, not that I need my notes for this, but we'll still hop in here. So the walker is just like it says, a walker. They are going to make progress, but they're going to make very slow progress. If you've ever seen The Walking Dead, it's a show where they're forever walking because it's like the zombie apocalypse. And I always think back and say, I would never make it in those if that ever happened, because I would never be able to walk those distances. So this person may be consistent, they may be persistent, and they may have really great qualities, but they are willing to walk this journey alone, and they're willing to get to the finish line in their due time. Now, in their mind, let's be honest, some of them may not realize how long of a walk this is going to be, how daunting of a journey it's going to be. Often we don't know how treacherous a road is until we get on it. But they're going to walk along, and they're going to walk alone. So this person is not going to be investing in a lot of resources, especially not in the beginning. They are going to try to learn things for free. They're going to try to use whatever knowledge they already have, or that they can leverage from friends, family, etc., to push forward. And it's not, and I want to be really clear, none of these potential client types are bad in the sense of they're not going to be successful. Again, they're on that same journey. It's more about the speed and the accuracy in which they're going. So the walker is typically not someone who's going to look for a coach or consultant. They are really I'm going to do it myself. They're the DIY people. They're going to do all of it by themselves at their own pace, slowly but surely. It's going to be pretty pointless to try to convince them to embark on any type of paid work, especially not any of your high-end things, because they just are not in that mindset to want to spend, I'm not even gonna say spend money, but invest in a lot of services. Next, we have the bike rider. I like the bike rider because they're probably what I was. I was very eager at the beginning of my journey, but I wasn't willing to invest a lot. In the very beginning, I had my computer, and I had myself, and I had YouTube. I had friends, I had books, anything I could get my hands on for free, pretty much. I was willing to go and find additional resources. I was fine with going to incubators. I was fine with going to free community events, workshops. I was out here looking for information. I knew that I didn't have all the answers. However, if something cost like more than 25, 50 bucks, I wasn't going to be there. I could see a conference that I thought was really going to add value to my business, but my brain was not willing to pay $100 to go at the very beginning of my business. I just wasn't. I remember the first thing I really invested in my business was like 25 bucks. It was a 90-day beta program, and it was like a business boot camp. And I remember even thinking at the time, like, I better get my $25 worth. And in the end, I got way more, ended up getting paid by the person that had the event. But again, I was a biker. I knew I was on this journey, right? I had started at point A. I knew I wanted to get to point B, but I really wasn't willing to invest in myself. And it wasn't because a lot of coaches were like, you must not believe in yourself. No, I believed in myself. I knew I can make money. I knew I was really good at being resourceful and providing services. I just wasn't willing to put it all on black. I didn't have a lot of money to invest to begin with. I wasn't bringing in tons of money in the beginning because I didn't even know how to price myself, right? So we start off, think about it. If you start off with nothing, you start making a little bit of money because you don't know to charge more, then would you really feel comfortable investing a whole bunch in something? Probably not. And I wasn't at the time. And so you're going to encounter as a coach or as a consultant, plenty of bikers that you're really going to be like, man, I wish I could work with them. They got a great business plan. They're just eager to learn. They're willing to grow, but they're just not willing to pay the prices. They're not willing to invest. And you may be able to convert a few of these people, but more than likely, they're going to be your low end investment pieces, meaning they'll grab your free PDF. They will interact with you on YouTube. They will like and share your social media posts, but they probably will not buy your high ticket item. So it's really important to have a value ladder of products and services that give them some inexpensive access. And then hopefully as they become a car driver or a plane rider, and we'll get to those in a moment, they'll be willing to engage with you in a higher investment level. All right, so next comes our car rider, which I find that most beginning coaches, this is who your typical client is. It is someone that has either set aside a few funds or at least understands the fact that they're going to need to outsource some. These people understand the idea of having a zone of genius, but they have limits to being willing to outsource. So this person has said, you know what, I'm going to maybe invest in a marketer, but only to this point, right? I might be able to invest max $500 in marketing a month. I may be able to take one course. They are willing to spend a little bit more money to better their business. They're willing to outsource and have somebody make their logo and flyers and a few small items, but they're not going to be your high ticket item person, especially not initially. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go after car drivers. I think they're a really great entry point if you are a new coach, and especially if you're beta testing things, because they will purchase a course, a $99 course. They will join your mastermind, and they will be the people that will give you great feedback. They, like the bike riders, are really eager to learn and grow, and they want to get there a little faster. They're starting to change their mindset, and not to sound rude, but they're changing their poverty mindset, right? Because we're going from a place of not to a place of abundance. So even if they're not there yet, they can see it, right? Because they're driving faster. Their light, their sight of vision is further than someone walking or riding their bike. So they can see a little further. They got their high beams on, and they say, oh, I can see I can get there if I just pick up a few people to help me. If I have somebody pay for the gas and somebody to give me a tune up, and I have somebody to clean off my windshield wipers, like I could get there a little faster. So they're willing to outsource a few things. These are going to be people who are willing to invest in that medium tier of your value ladder. And again, if you're a new coach or consultant, these are the people you might want to go after, because you may not, and you can't put everybody in a big box, but you may not be ready for high ticket items because maybe you don't have systems in place to give people that level of support. And that's not a bad thing. It happens. When I first started my business, I realized that I could take on a few clients, and then there was a spot where I was like, oh, if I take on any more people with the systems and strategies I have in place, I'm going to not be able to provide good customer service because it'll be too many. It'll be too much. And so then I would tweak my systems and procedures and protocols and maybe add a staff member or figure something out. And then I could take on a few more. And then it'll be like, oh, we need to figure something out. And that's why I think car drivers are great, because they're not paying enough where they're expecting the moon, the stars, the solar system, like everything, right? They're expecting quality, which you can provide, but not without a few nicks, if you understand my meaning. So I think that is a place, like I said, if you're a newer coach or consultant, look for you some car drivers, hop in there and help them out to get to their journey a little bit faster. Now, if you've been in the business or you feel super confident in your products and your services and the systems you have in place, go ahead and grab yourself a plane writer. A plane writer is going to be someone who's going to give you a bigger investment because they understand the importance of outsourcing. They understand the importance of having the people on their team that are experts at what they do. They will hire you as a coach because they know they need a coach. You just have to show that you're the best coach for them. All right. You're still not begging, you're still not desperate, but they're willing to say, you get on a call that you say, this is what I do, this is how I do it. I think, based on our conversation, this is how I can get you there. If that lines up with where they're trying to go and you sound like you know what you're doing, they're willing to sign on the dotted line and to hand you your money. You can tell the difference between somebody that's very timid and holding on to that cash for dear life and saying, well, what if this doesn't work? Can I cancel? And what if this? And what if that? Versus somebody who's ready, they're on the plane, they bought the ticket, they want the window seat. They're like, let me know when we get there. Right? They're cool. They're following your directions. They're turning in your homework. They are doing what you say. They're not questioning your every move. These are amazing, amazing clients. I have a few of these and I love them. It's so much easier to work with them. And when they talk about me, I can tell that they understand. They're like, yeah, when she tells me to do this, I just do it. I understand, like, she's the expert in this field and it works out for me great. Versus people who are not in that mindset. They're like, I'm gonna try it. Let me see, maybe. Well, let me try this first and then I'll come back. No, your plane writers are amazing. They want to work with you because they want the speed. They don't want to take years to get where they're trying to go. Think about if everybody was trying to get cross country. They started on the East Coast, they're trying to get to the West Coast. They're not trying to walk. They're not trying to ride their bike. They're not trying to drive, right? They want to get there today. So they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna go ahead and purchase. I call these people my group, my community people, because they're gonna get your group coaching packages with your course. They're going to engage with you and get all the freebies as well. And then they're going to implement, which is where you really need people to be, because it's not just about learning the information. It's really about being able to implement. And while my company in particular is always about budget friendly, results, some things cost money and they're willing to go ahead and invest to make sure that they can put the systems in place that you're telling them to do so that they can get the result you're telling them they can get. So, like I said, if you're ready, nobody can tell you that. I can't tell you that. You have to know. Now, I'm not saying we can't book a call and chit chat about it, but you have to know that you're ready to take on plane riders. And if you are ready for those, these are your high ticket people, your jet setters, right? I have an amazing jet setter client. She is phenomenal. I love her so much because literally we don't talk. We don't talk anymore because she's on our social media side of our business and our marketing side. And literally she understands that we know her so well that we throw her content out and she's like, thank you, it's done. She doesn't have to think about it. When she comes in and she has like an issue to solve, she's like, hey, this is my issue. We go in there, talk about it, fix that issue. She's like, thank you. She never asks, she never challenges and says, oh, what about this or what about that? She's like, bet. You guys are great. Thank you so much. And it's so amazing to work with a jet setter. They have a clear understanding of where they're trying to go. They understand and trust that you're going to get them there. They are willing to make the high ticket investments, and you in turn give them the moon, the stars, and the universe. Very simple. That's how it is. They have booked a private jet. They want that one-on-one coaching. You're going to be speaking specifically to them when you work with them and getting the job done. It is amazing. And again, I want to caution, because I know I work with, again, newer coaches. You may not be ready to handle a jet setter, and that's okay. I know if I go back into my mind 2 years ago, when I first started this particular business, I would not have been in a good place to take on a jet setter because I didn't have enough systems in place to handle it. There can be a big workload. They do expect excellence because they're paying for excellence. Again, when I started off, my first little $25 investment, I was like, oh, I better get a great deal. And then I went on to a $1,000 investment. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a little crazy. I was still a little timid, but I had moved from a bike rider to more of a plane, well, yeah, plane rider. In my mind, a plane rider. Probably to that person that I made the investment to, I was probably more of a car rider at the time. And then I went on and invested in a $10,000 program. And it's funny because I remember hitting the button to pay for the $10,000 program, and I was laughing to myself, being like, you're not even batting an eye. Absolutely not. I already know. I already know. I had that jet setter mindset. And again, $10,000 may not be your end all be all high ticket item, because I know that particular person I purchased this coaching program from, it's not their jet setter program, right? They have like a $50,000 jet setter program where I'm not at yet, and that's totally okay. But for me, if I was my client, I would be a jet setter for my program, because $10,000 is my high ticket item, right? So in that case, yeah, that mindset of being like, you know what? Yeah, I'm signing on the dotted line. I know I'm going to get what I paid for and more. Thank you. It was no hesitation. The people around me were like bug-eyed, thinking, you're crazy. What the world? Are you gonna think on it? Are you sleep on it? No, I know this is what I want. I know this will take me to the next level. And there's my money. Card was swiped. I'll figure the rest out later. And so yes, jet setters are really great for you. If you can get a few of these, that's all you really need. All right. So what's for you will be for you. And I really want you, if you give nothing else out of this program, is understanding what is for you will be for you. You have to realize that you can't go around in this desperate mindset of just needing clients. You really can't. You have to be really cautious about who you choose to work with, and you have to attract the people, the type of people you want, and then really repel all the rest. Repel all the rest. Because I'm telling you, I have worked with a few clients where literally every month I was like, oh, I hope they fire me this month. I kid you not. I hope they fire me this month, because I really hate, once I agree to work with somebody, I don't like firing clients. I have told clients, hey, I might have to let you go if they're not being consistent, because it really is a waste of my time and their time. But I've had clients where they weren't horrible to work with, but I realized they weren't my type of client I really wanted to do business with. And I'm telling you, a few occasions I was like, yeah, I hope they fire me. Oh, did they email yet? Oh, they, and then when it finally happens, because people feel the vibe and they realize, this isn't the right place for me. And when they finally realize, I'm like, you know what, have a great day. It was a pleasure working with you. I wish you all the best in the future. And you don't want to have too many of those. You really want to enjoy your work. Being an entrepreneur is hard enough. You want to enjoy this process you're on. And so really be conscious when you're doing all this work to get a client, to make sure that you're attracting the right clients you want. If you want a whole bunch of walkers and you like to see them turn from walkers to bike riders, then go for it. If you want a whole bunch of bike riders, awesome. If you want a whole bunch of car drivers, great. Heck, if you want to skip them all and only have jet setters, and maybe you're doing only high-end clientele, great. Know who your target audience is and attract just them. That's truly the key to it all. Now, with that being said, I want to encourage you to realize that you are an expert, right? You're an expert coach, you're an expert consultant. And if you want to attract the people you want to work with, I'm going to give you a few tips to do just that. Firstly, I want you to price your products and services appropriately. When I first started my business, oh my Jesus, I'll be very honest, because these prices would never, never, ever, ever happen again. And I know you shouldn't say never, but never, ever. I charge people $100 a month for a piece of content every single day, $100 a month. And I was even worse, because I was so scared and desperate. I said, you know what? You don't know me well. I totally get that. You pay 50% up front and 50% after I do the work to make sure you like it. Oh my God, when I tell you, it takes you one time for somebody to stick you on your money to say, never do that again. So yeah, I was thinking, well, nobody would ever just give me money, right? $100 is so much to ask for. So if I tell them, give me 50 now, and I used to say, well, it protects me and you, and tells me, and at least I got my $50, and it protects you because, you don't have to pay me if you don't like the work. Again, I have to roll my eyes at myself, like, what was I thinking? But yeah, and so I attracted a whole bunch of walkers and bike riders who were willing to put in, well, actually not even walkers, bike riders who were like, oh, okay, I'll give her, some chump change and she'll do all this work. And they were the most needy people ever. It was horrible. because they were paying for nothing. Well, they were paying basically nothing and wanting, again, the moon, the stars, in the universe, because they didn't have the mindset to understand what their investment really gave them. So price yourself and your products and services appropriately. That can be market research. That can be looking at what your offer really is and what people can hope to gain on the other end of that. Look at not just, okay, saying this is what I do, but when people go through your course, when they go through your coaching program, when they finish your consultant workshops, what, how are they different? How are they changed? What new knowledge and skills do they have? That's where your price really sits. Somebody can tell you, because we do talk about value ladders. We say, okay, free, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, and we can tell you kind of what the ladder should look like. But if your products are not true to where they are on the ladder, you're gonna end up with some issues. So just make sure you're really having a hard look at, again, what results are you getting, and price yourself appropriately. Also, be clear in your marketing about what you do and whom you serve. I know for me, when I first started, I was like, well, I'll work with anybody, anybody, just whoever. And then I said, okay, no, I want to work with just women. And that was, and I have had some exceptions. I've worked with 2 or 3 guys over the course of 2 years, but I've picked and chose them appropriately. But yeah, I work with women. And then I was like, okay, well, I work with mostly people, women of color. And then I said, okay, well, I work with mostly women of color, but I realized that I love people who are coaches and consultants. I worked with people who sold candles, people that sold calendars, books, art, all kind of stuff, DJs, all kind of things. And I realized that the people I really enjoy working with are coaches and consultants, people who are in this education revolution type industry. And so now people ask me, who do you work for and who do you serve? I always say, well, I serve coaches and consultants in their first, 5 years of business typically, and people who also want to do things on a budget. It's really budget friendly because that's who I was a couple of years ago, someone who didn't have a lot to invest and couldn't just go out and grab loans or get big investors at the time. And I want those individuals to know that they too can have a business. So be really clear when you market to say that and to speak to that, because again, remember, we want to attract and then repel any people that we don't want to work with. Also, I really want to encourage you to have an application or vetting process to people who you want to coach or consult with. You want to be really clear. And I'm not saying you have to tell them all your prices up front. I always tell people if it's over $1,000, you probably just want to have a conversation and then tell them, because at some point people need to know what the prices are in that industry, what they're looking for. But you do want to have an application to kind of see where they are. If you know you want to deal with people who maybe business owners who have been in business for a while, have a good business plan, but just want to scale up to the next level. You don't want somebody who doesn't have a logo, who's not sure of their brand name, who doesn't have a following at all, because then they are not who you're really trying to help. The systems you probably have in place and the products and services aren't meant for them. Thus, they're not going to get the results that you want them to get or they want to get. So just have some type of application, some kind of form. And again, if you've been marketing to the right people and then they go and fill out the form and you can see kind of what they have and how they talk about their business, then you'll be better prepared when you do the next step, which is allow a free strategy session, free consultation, free call, whatever you want to call it. And this is just like a get to know you call. If you have the application or some type of form beforehand, it helps you better be able to talk to what they need and have a plan for them before the call. And the call is more to just vibe and to see, okay, do I feel like I'm getting a good vibe off this person? Do I think I can help them? Get a little bit more information and then decide. And then once you do that, you would think that's the end of the process, but also have a detailed onboarding process, and make very clear expectations of what you're going to need from them. Because people will fall off if you don't. And you have to think, you're like, well, that's a lot of work. But if people are willing to do some work up front, then they're not going to probably want to put the work in to do whatever your program is about, right? Unless you're giving them, I don't know, made for you email templates and literally they just have to tell you the name of their business, then they're going to have to put some work in. point blank in the period. And so if they're not willing to fill out a quick application, and I mean a quick application, it doesn't have to be their detailed resume with crazy things on it. And they're not willing to hop on maybe a 15, 10 to 30-minute conversation with you and then fill out onboarding so that you have a clear understanding moving forward, then they're probably not your type of client anyway. So just keep that in mind. Because again, I'm going to keep saying it. You want to attract who you want and propel who you don't want. So I'm going to give you this last quick bonus tip. And that is, once you finally get the client, we've had to discuss now the types of clients you may want, how to attract them. But if you finally get them, make sure that you deliver on what you say, because it is a lot easier to keep a client than it is to grab a new one, right? And we talked a little bit about a value ladder. And if you're not sure about that, you'll get some more content about that in the near future. But it's a lot easier for someone to say they love working with you and they're willing to buy more from you, and they tell more people about you, than it is for you to say, oh, I know you don't know me, but come try me out, right? So just keep that in mind. Deliver on what you say, because I have bought that $1,000 course that I paid for. That's the same person I bought that $10,000 program from. And I would have not been in a space to pay that $10,000 to a complete stranger who hadn't already shown me that they do really great work. All right. So, don't mistake a jet setter or a plane rider for a biker just because you aren't delivering on what you said. And then when they disappear or they say something negative about your program, you're like, well, why? It's because you didn't deliver what you said. That's why it's important to have those clear expectations. So hopefully, guys, this gave you some things to think about. I really want to make you feel empowered as a coach and as a consultant to understand that the ball is in your court. You can work with who you want to work with. You can charge the prices that you should be charging based on what you deliver. And it isn't a matter of, well, I've been in the field for this many years or I have this degree. In the coaching world, it's more about, do you have the ability to get your person from whatever their point A is to whatever their next point B is? And if that is the case, and they are willing to invest the amount that is appropriate, and you feel like it's going to be a good partnership, then that's who you should be working with. And that's really what sets us apart. There are so many different types of coaches, consultants, that do different things and help people in different ways, that this information, even if I gave it to all of us, we would still pick different types of people to work with, and we would have different products and services at different prices with different deliverables. And some of us would succeed because we would understand the process, and some of us wouldn't. And so hopefully today this helped you a little bit, at least get the wheels turning to who you want to work with, how you're going to attract them, and how you're going to keep them. And as always, if you have more questions, comments, concerns, connect with me. You can always email us at IROCMBS, that's IROCMBS @gmail.com. And if that changes, because I'm recording this now in November, but we'll be doing some changes here in the next few months. So if that changes, I'll go back and update the link for you so that you can always stay in touch. But you can always comment on this video wherever you may see it. And we will be happy to get you on a free call so that we can talk a little bit more about how we can help you with understanding or get you a system that allows you to engage with people you want to work with. All right, with that being said, guys, you have a wonderful day.